Welcome back. We have in studio with us somebody that I think you will recognize from a huge sitcom just a few years ago. Not Little House on the Prairie, no. Full House.
Full House.
We're here with Candace Cameron. Candace, welcome.
Hi, Candace. Welcome. How are you? How you feeling?
Good. Very good.
Okay, so last night I was in my hotel room, and all of a sudden I see Full House, and I'm watching you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I grew up on this show. I'm watching, and I'm thinking, her hair. I remember the spray and the hair. How did you maintain the hair?
That's not the question I was going to ask, but go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. Yes. But no, most people watching know you, I would guess, know you from that sitcom. So it's always like, you know, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And here she is.
It's still on several times a day, and it's great. And there's just generations of fans at this point, and little kids that are 5 and 10 think it's a brand new show today.
But so you're the only childhood star, you know, who hasn't been in rehab 40 times. Do you realize that?
The only one.
You're the only one.
You're
the only one. Look at her, just fresh as a daisy.
And sometimes it is hard to make that transition, right? From being an 80s star child, and everyone is like, oh, we don't.
I think that is that difficult transition from child actor to adult actor, and that's how a lot of people feel that they need to reinvent themselves to look like an adult, and I never wanted to do it that way. And so I really liked the wholesome values that I was brought up with within my family, and I wanted to continue that, and being a good role model was always important to me. And definitely my faith, you know, it is who I am. So it plays a vital role in the projects that I choose to do. So even though I've always wanted to do things that are more wholesome or family friendly, whatever you want to call that, I mean, I look at it in an even probably more detailed, specific way when my faith plays a factor in it.
And you say you have 3 children, right? Okay, and so you are a producer. She's an actress. You're a mother. You're a wife.
And you're going to sing for us?
And she's going to tap dance.
Yes.
How?
I am.
How do you balance it all? Like, how do you
I balance it all?
Yeah, how do you balance it all? Huh? Get it?
That would
be a book.
I was going to say, before we get into that, you know, we might want to tell the folks that you've written a wonderful book.
And now you're an author.
With a title.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Right.
Yes.
With the title is?
Balancing it all.
What a coincidence.
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
I know.
She didn't even know that when she said balancing it all.
So this is kind of a follow-up to my first book, which was called Reshaping It All, and that talks a lot about faith and fitness and
So you weren't
food
talking about the body after a baby, reshaping it all, huh?
Well, reshaping it all.
She just had a baby.
It's a lot of the mental up here of reshaping it all.
Yeah.
So it's a follow-up.
So now my second book is Balancing It All. So it is about my stories of juggling priorities and purpose, and it's it's written very autobiographically in that it takes you through my journey in life and all those pivotal moments where decision making really shaped who I am as a woman and a wife and a mom, and how you manage to balance those things. But
why do you think people, I mean women, have such a difficulty with this? In other words, this is such a hot button topic, so that, you know, I saw your book, I thought, that's it. I mean, what woman today is not asking herself, how do I balance it all? How do I do that? Yeah. Why do you think today that is so hard?
Because I think that I think we can look at one another and we aren't satisfied with just being one thing, because we see people, I mean, we're juggling so much. I mean, there's, when we have children or a husband and then want a career, and yet some women who choose not to have a career or be a stay-at-home mom or a homeschooling mom, it's like there are things that make us feel like we're not valuable enough, or we don't measure up to that woman that is juggling 10 things in her life.
Well, especially with social media, because everyone is on Facebook, they're putting a different face on there or saying something, and you know, you're like, oh, today is amazing. Meanwhile, you wanted to just like strangle your child. Don't do that.
And by the way, speaking of Hollywood and balancing it all, I mean, it needs to be said, a lot of the families in Hollywood, they've got like 12 nannies and, you know, 9 governesses and all kinds of every child has his own gardener, you know. And the thing is, you're in Hollywood, you're successful as an actress, but you're really doing this on your own. You're really actually raising your kids on your own. You don't just have staff that you farm out the kids to.
No.
Right?
I don't have any staff. Some days I really wish that I did
Right.
have staff, but I don't have any staff. No, I don't have a nanny or a chef or a driver.
No
I
chef?
don't even have a personal
You don't have a
assistant.
plastic surgeon? What is wrong
Well,
with you?
Oh, my
don't
goodness.
have-
The point is, you're a normal person. You're
I
kind of
am,
like,
and I
you know.
just happen to work in entertainment.
Right. But
yeah,
that's rare. That's rare.
Doing that. So that's all in my book too. But you know what? Here's the thing, and I talk about this because I don't feel that I'm any better of a person because I don't have people helping me. I do have
Even though
people
you are,
helping.
you don't feel that
I
way.
just haven't paid for help because it's like my parents help me, my husband helps me, my friends help me. We all need help. Like it really does take a village.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
We were just saying this, like I would
Yeah.
not be able to do anything that I'm doing today just without my parents. Like they'll stay with her, and the safety that okay,
Yeah.
she's with my parents. I know they're gonna love my child.
You know that your kids aren't going to get more messed up than you are.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Now, I was watching you on TV, and there was an interview, and this woman, it was like this uproar about the word submissive, right? And she was just, I just don't understand. What do you mean by submissive? Why do you think there was such an uproar?
You know, it's funny because we all are submissive people in that we have to submit to authority, government, laws, our bosses. We do submit every day. But I think that
And you can't mention God on this show, by the way.
okay.
But we're also, by the way, supposed to submit to God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that people don't like being told what to do. So that word is offensive right away. But when we look at really the biblical definition of that word, it means to obey meekly. Meek is strength under control. It's
Yes.
bridled strength.
In the original
So-
Greek, I'm Greek, so I know
Okay.
that's actually true, though. People don't know that. That
Yeah.
meekness, our view of meekness, is very different from it. It means strength. It's like you think of a powerful horse under control. I mean, it's
Yes.
bridled power, totally different from
Exactly.
lack of power.
Exactly. So I talk a little bit about that in the book because I talk about my marriage, but my book is not a marriage book. But my husband and I choose to submit our lives and our marriage to God. But within that, my husband's the leader of our family, and I love that. I love that. He leads us, and I feel that I'm the heart, I'm the love and the nurture in there.
I always
and
say that.
And so it's a perfect balance.
It is so
and mix.
countercultural. It's just
Right, but
tremendously countercultural, which all the more reason that I'm thrilled that you wrote this book, because people are just, as I say, people buy into these cultural cliches. It's everybody's got to be empowered or whatever, as if what you're talking about is not what it's a beautiful thing.
I couldn't be an actress and a producer and an author and have 3 children and a 17-year-long marriage if I were a woman that was subservient and didn't have a voice.
But if you think about it,
So,
someone has to lead, right? Like you can't both be like,
Well,
we're
it's like
Two
in
people can't
dancing.
be sitting driving a car at the same
it's-
time.
Exactly.
But you can have the navigator telling you where to go.
But
what
even
to
the
do.
woman being like, you just said so powerful, which I love, and I always say, I feel like I am the heart, and my husband is the head, and together when we're working, it is like unison, and it's powerful.
I'm the kidney in our marriage.
You are.
Yeah,
You
that's
are the
true.
kidney.
That's true. I'll break that
And I
down
think your
after,
kidney-
later.
I know.
You might
That's
need
the after
dialysis.
show.
What does that
talk
mean?
Right there.
He needs
I don't
dialysis.
know.
In the book, Balancing It All, what are just some key points women can learn from, or just anyone who picks up the book?
But don't say too much because they won't buy the book. So
They
just
Sure,
enough
okay.
Yeah,
so that
just
they buy
a
the book.
tidbit.
Let me give you a trailer.
You know what? I think I really wrote this book in through my own journey. And I think it's important for women to realize that none of our lives are going to look the same. So balance is different for everyone else, and we don't have to compare ourselves to one another. And
shouldn't.
And shouldn't. And because if you have 3 things that are very important in your life, then you invest in those 3 things really well and not look at the other woman that might be juggling 10 things and think that you have to do the same as the other. I think when women realize that we don't have to compare our lives and ourselves to one another, we will have a big sigh of relief and go, just invest in the things that that God has given us to invest in, and do that well. But I talk about things that, again, are important to me in my life that help me balance. One of those things are charitable works. I mean, philanthropy is so incredibly important to me and my family, and something that I do along with my children. It's so important that we have fun as adults.
Fun, absolutely,
You
because
have
it's
to
so
have
easy
adults.
to
You
like forget about
to have
having fun.
Yeah, I mean, not to the
absolutely.
detriment of like your family, but like you need those girls' nights out. Even though my husband is incredibly important to me, but sometimes my husband doesn't want to listen to everything.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like that's what our girlfriends are for, and. You know, and I talk about even more stuff with children and school and discipline and all kinds of things, but I think it comes down to really, you know, knowing what's valuable and important to you and your family, and looking at those things. I think that will naturally create, when they overlap, it'll create a balance in your life that's right for you.
You know, before we go, we got to go in a few seconds. Are you willing to dish any dirt on the Olsen twins on camera right now?
Not at all.
Good, that was the right answer. That's okay. That's okay. You can read it in the tabloids. We don't need it on TV, right?
She don't gossip.
Okay. Okay. Well, really, I have to say, as a man, you know, it's encouraging to me that you seem to just have a very healthy approach to this, kind of a down-to-earth. You don't look down-to-earth. You look beautiful in Hollywood, but you have a down-to-earth soul, and that's needed. So thank you for being with us, and
You're
success
welcome.
with
Thanks
this
for having
wonderful
me.
book, Balancing It All.
Go check it out.
We'll be
Thank
right
you.
back.